You Booked It, episode 160. What's going on, everyone? Thank you for joining me today on You Booked It, the #1 podcast where you learn how to create a successful entertainment career. Every episode is a masterclass on how to move your career forward. Do you want to take your career to the next level? As a listener of this podcast, I am opening up the opportunity for you to work one-on-one with me to build the foundation of what you need to create a successful career in today's world. Regardless if you're starting out or you've been doing this a while, we will go in depth on everything that actually creates long-term success. If you're interested, head over to youbookeditpodcast.com/coaching or simply click the link in the description of this episode and let's chat. Okay, let's get started. I am excited to introduce my guest today, Jessica Reddish. Are you ready for this, Jessica?
Oh, yes.
All right. Jessica is an accomplished director, writer, and award-winning choreographer. Her body of work ranges from recently contributing choreography to the Smashing Pumpkins International Tour to having her short film, The Last Croissant, which she wrote and directed, currently featured on Will Ferrell's Funny or Die. She is honored to have directed for Elizabeth Banks's Hoo Ha Ha platform and received placement in the 2019 and 2020 Women in Film Mentoring Program. She is the recipient of the Helen Hayes Award for Outstanding Choreography for her work on Silence the Musical at Studio Theater. Jessica, that is a quick intro of who you are and what you've done, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself, fill in the gaps, and a little bit more about what you do as a professional in the entertainment industry?
Sure. Thanks so much for having me. My name is Jessica Reddish, and I am a writer, director, and award-winning choreographer. I am originally from Chicago, and I live in Los Angeles. My work this year has gone from everything to choreographing short films to writing and directing comedy sketches for online content.
Brilliant. And let's dive right into this first section here. And Jessica, look, I am a sucker for a good quote. What is your favorite quote you'd like to share with everyone?
Humor is just truth, only faster. Gilda Radner.
I've not heard that one before. That's so good.
It's a good one. It's a really good one. Yeah.
And can you expand on that a bit, on how you've worked that into your career?
Sure. It just really reminds me why I'm doing what I'm doing. I really think it's galvanized me to tell the truth about ridiculous scenarios and about the absurd. And it reminds me when I'm writing a sketch, I'm not just cracking jokes and making people laugh, which I love to do, by the way, but I'm telling the truth.
Yeah, for sure. You know, for whatever reason, when you're saying that, I had this image of watching Borat, right?
Yeah.
And it's something that I love, and obviously maybe it's with the election and all this stuff kind of surrounding it. I love the way comedy can address such pertinent and serious issues so directly, but in a way that's so accessible.
Yep.
And it's so good.
It is. It's also relieving, right? Because just straight up facts can get numbing, but
and a bit too serious sometimes.
A bit too serious, yeah. And so, like, the entertainment factor, there's a catharsis around it, I think, around laughter.
Yeah, totally, 100%. Great. Let's get into this next section here. And Jessica, of course, you are an entertainment professional. I am an entertainment professional, and I think that you'd agree that this industry can be one of the most subjective, brutally honest, personally emotional industries in existence. And you know as well as I that in order to create and have a successful career in this industry like you're having now, takes a lot of dedication and hard work. And while, there's an outrageous amount of fun and excitement doing what we do, there are also our fair share of obstacles, challenges, and failures we are going to experience and we're going to have to move forward through. So tell us, what is one key challenge, obstacle, or failure you've experienced in your career, and how did you come out the other side better because of it?
Sure. I think it's a great question. I'm in this moment of expanding my creative repertoire, and I'm finding it just like a tad challenging to tell people who I am. I'm still a working choreographer and I love it, but I'm also doing these projects as a writer director. And I want people to think of me like that. I'm working these two kind of lanes at the same time. And I'm, for example, I'm spending my time working on my short film called Love Solutions, formerly titled Cat, planning for the next shoot and all this exciting comedy work I'm getting in. And I'm still envisioning dances, and I have a lot of choreography work on my plate. So I want to make sure people don't think I've dropped one for the other. You know, that we are given permission to be Renaissance people if we want to be. And I'm loving that I'm evolving as an artist, and I want to make sure that comes across. So just that I have more than one interest, and I feel I do both equally well. And I think I'm really starting anew in this comedy world, and just going from someone who gigged on other people's projects, which I still love to do, and it's a big part of my life, and it always will be, to also believing that my voice was worth producing. I think my work taps into the weirdo in all of us. I love writing stories about women in strange situations who tend to learn from their mistakes sometimes. And, but the rules of the game I learned were very much like just work for other people, make it happen that way. And the real journey has been trusting my own voice. And I know that it's worth listening to. In terms of some of the other challenges, I've been fortunate to just continually work. And if something doesn't go my way, I know there's another one coming down the pike. That's just been an experience. And so I try not to get too hung up on one opportunity or another. I just know something else is coming. It's like buses.
Right, for sure. Good analogy. Yeah, trusting your own voice, you said, that is a huge challenge for all of us, because we really do have more to offer than oftentimes, I find, than what an industry will pigeonhole us as, or everyone likes to put people in a little box that they can understand. And it just makes things easier, especially if you're in casting and you're looking at hundreds and hundreds of different people. It just makes sense to put people in boxes when you're doing that. But it's hard to get out of boxes sometimes once you've been put in them. And I think finding your own voice is such a integral part of getting out of your box, because yes, you can stay there, you can live in your lane, and that's totally cool. But if you feel like you have more, you're the one that has to do it. You can know inside that, like, yeah, I can do all these other things. People aren't going to pull that out from you for the most part. It has to be up to you to step over that precipice of, maybe it's fear, maybe it's just, I'm not sure if I'm worth being heard on whatever that might be. That's another skill.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really moved from an interpretive artist to a generative artist. And especially coming from musical theater, where you're handed an amazing script and you're interpreting it. I've done a lot of that work. I still do some of that work with plays and musicals and working on music videos and other short films. I love interpreting other people's work. And finding space, especially when I moved out to Los Angeles, having some space and time to write, and then just it picking up steam on its own. I do think the digital age has been very democratizing for us. You've started this podcast. I started making short films, music videos. It enables us to use our own voices in new ways. So we do have the tools in front of us. It's a challenging time right now, but we have some exciting tools in front of us.
Agreed. And let's move on to a time that I like to call your spotlight moment. That one moment in time you realized, yes, I am going to be in the entertainment industry for a living. Or maybe it was, yes, this is what I need to be doing in this industry. Tell us about that.
Sure. I was in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat with Donny Osmond
that show.
When I was 12. And I was in the kids choir. And when it was over, I was devastated. And I knew I had to be around this for the rest of my life. There was no choice. There was no other option for me. In terms of what I was going to do at my high school, it was a wonderful arts program and choreographed a student-written and student-run musical. And my acting teacher turned to me and he just at intermission, and he said, "This is what you need to be doing." So I think I was 17. So,
wow.
I learned early I wanted to be around it professionally all my life. And then that really set me on my path, and I have not stepped off since.
Very cool. You and my wife, I think, would get along. She is borderline obsessed, I'd say, with Joseph. She loves the music. She knows every single line, everything. She's done the show multiple times, loves it. And
it's funny.
Multiple times a year, we always end up watching it, for sure. But I love it.
That's the production, yeah.
It's
that
so
was
good.
The production, yep. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes, that's the coat. Mm-hmm.
That's it. And you know what? And I love the way they did the movie musical of that as well.
It was wild. It's really
Yeah,
wild. Yeah.
it's so good.
A lot of my friends, I think it was on this year because Andrew Lloyd Webber showed all his musicals online or on TV. I can't remember. But a lot of my friends on Facebook who were in the choirs, we tag each other because they're showing it to their kids. And it was just
Yeah.
it was this like full circle moment. It was really cool.
For sure. We've already shown it to our 3-year-old daughter. So
She's in
start
the
early.
club.
Boom.
It was just a joyous experience. And we did it in Chicago, and Chicago loves that musical. And it was at the Chicago Theater, and it kept coming back. And it was a really fun experience. It was a big, huge production, and lots of rainbow sheep, and it was wild. It was just very exciting as a young person to be around that level of professionalism. And I just thought, okay, this is it.
Absolutely. And let's piggyback on all of that real quick and talk about your number one booked it moment. Walk us through that day, the auditions and callbacks, if they happen to be a part of it. What was going on in your life, and what about that moment makes it your favorite booked it moment?
So, I was doing all this stuff trying not to wait for permission, just doing it my way, not really waiting for any gatekeeper to call me. But I really knew I was doing something right when I got an email from Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins asking me to contribute choreography to his tour. I had just moved to LA, and I was a few months in, and I just got the email, and it was just really energizing because I thought, this is the work I want to be doing at this level. And he and I had met a few years prior. We would talk about musicals. We had started a working relationship. I had commissioned his first short musical at the theater company I had founded and ran, and I choreographed it. We had begun working together, and I had really put in my sweat equity building that theater and running it. So it just felt like a lot of things were coming together in this moment, that a lot of things have paid off, and that I was going to be working in the way and in the city I wanted to be.
Very cool. I was interviewing someone the other day, and they said, Success in this career in particular is cumulative.
Yes.
And I said, oh, that's so well said.
It's so true.
And it's so true. And your booked it story is exactly that, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. The short answer is I got the email, right? But the longer answer is there's work that's put in, and it's over time. It really is a marathon of work and collaboration and relationships over time that build and grow. And I'm grateful to be out here now to have really built a team of mainly women on my crews who help me make my work now. And it's just very exciting.
I think you said it right there. It's the collaborations, the relationships, and how important they are. And there it is, once again, for everyone listening, this idea of having relationships and cultivating these relationships and collaborating with people is hands down one of the most important fundamentals of what is creating a successful entertainment career. We hear it from everyone in this industry, whether they're an author, whether they're a film actor, a stage actor, a musician, everyone. It all boils down to relationships.
It really does. And I have a lot of friends who say, oh, I'm not good at networking. And it's not just networking. It's actually working with people and really collaborating with them and getting a language together. And that's how you build something truly great.
For sure. And let's take a moment to talk about the present. What projects are you working on now? What are you looking forward to? And it's a weird time, right? We're amidst this global pandemic. How do you see the entertainment industry moving forward in the next couple of years?
I have a short film called Love Solutions, which is formerly titled Cat, which was a recent semifinalist in Women in Media's Camaraderie Initiative.
Oh.
Someone has just signed on to produce it. So I'm looking forward to getting that filmed next year. It's a story of a woman who signs up for a dating coaching service in search of her soulmate, only to end up marrying a cat. Another piece I did called The Last Croissant. It's a short film, which was on Funny or Die, is making the festival rounds. It just played the Portland Comedy Film Festival, which was a drive-in, and we'll be playing the Atlanta Comedy Film Festival both live and online on December 6th, and it will be in the Holly Shorts screening series next year. I'm going to release a sequel called Airway, which is also a short film next year, so stay tuned for that.
Very cool. I just watched The Last Croissant. It's so funny. I loved it.
Thank you. Yes, I got the I got the feedback that it's very relatable, and I think
Outrageous relate.
we were talking about that just earlier about how comedy can tell the truth. Yeah, and like you said, be relatable. So that is actually a lot of the feedback that I do get, and that
For sure, we've all been there.
Yeah, makes me feel less weird.
We all experience it every day.
I love it. Yeah, in terms of where I see the industry moving forward, with a lot of masks. That's how I feel now.
Yeah.
But I do feel like this is a time to innovate and make it work. And I think for independent artists who have been scrappy and making it happen, especially independent filmmakers, this is our time to shine. I think we're very flexible thinkers. So it's our time to really step forward and be safe while doing it, of course.
And it is time to move on to one of my favorite sections in the interview. I call it the Grease Lightning Round. I am going to ask you a handful of questions. I want you to answer them as quickly and concisely as possible, one after another. Are you ready?
So ready.
All right, first question. What was the one thing holding you back from committing to a career in the entertainment industry?
Really thinking I needed to live a 9-to-5 life. And once I let that go and realized that wasn't me, then everything started to fall into place.
Beautiful. I also thought that, and I've also realized I'm not very good at the 9-to-5 thing. Done it.
Yeah.
Not very good at it.
It's not for everyone. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And the second question. What is the best piece of advice you have ever received?
I heard a producer here in LA say, no one knows anything. Don't listen to anybody. So the counter of that is go with your gut. Your gut has more serotonin in it than your brain. Someone once told me. Go with what works. Trust yourself.
There we go. Third question. What is something that is working for you right now? Or if you'd like to go pre-COVID, what was working for you before our industry went on pause?
So short form video is really working for me. I'm very much embracing it online, getting tons of positive feedback for it. My goal is to make feature films, but right now is a very good time for short form comedy video, and I'm on it and getting a lot of work in that area. I think we need to laugh at the moment, and I'm very glad to be a part of that. I also gave myself something new once COVID hit, especially early on. It was hard to just do anything. I just told myself, just do 3 things a day. Just get 3 things done. And now that things are heating up again, I'm now limiting myself to 3 things a day. Just let's do 3 things, and then it's an accomplished day. So.
There we go. Mm-hmm. And the fourth question, what is your best resource? Whether that is a book, a movie, a YouTube video, maybe a podcast or piece of technology you found is helping your career right now.
So a couple books, Push Comes to Shove by Twyla Tharp, The Artist's Way and Walking in This World, both by Julia Cameron. And this probably isn't the moment to say this, but honestly, I'm honestly booking a lot of work from talking about my work on social media. And to be honest, I'm from Chicago and we're very humble. And the last thing we do is talk about ourselves. So I had to get over that hump. And I did that for myself by thinking that when I post, I'm not only promoting my own work, but that I'm hopefully inspiring others to be creative as well, which I think is so important.
Exactly right. It's all about how you frame that as well,
yes,
isn't it?
Exactly. But I'm very grateful. It's booked me a lot of work to be able to share what I'm doing.
Brilliant. And the fifth question, if you had to start your career from scratch, but you still had all the knowledge and experience you've collected from your career in this industry, what would you do or not do? Would you do anything differently or would you keep it the same?
I've learned a lot, but I feel like there isn't much I would do differently because things happen at the time they're really supposed to happen. It took me a long time to trust my voice, but I feel like I'm hitting my stride at just the right time.
And the last question, what is the golden nugget knowledge drop you've learned from your successful career in this industry that you'd like to leave with our listeners?
Trust yourself, go with your gut, and your intuition is king.
Boom. And to wrap up this interview, Jessica, it is time to give yourself a plug. Where can we find you? How do our listeners connect with you? Is there anything you want to promote?
I'd love for you to check out my website, jessicareddish.com. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Jessica Reddish.
Beautiful. And for everyone listening out there, I have put the links to everything Jessica just said into the description of this episode so you can easily connect with her. And also, be sure to share this podcast with your fellow entertainers, coaches, teachers, arts and entertainment educators, and anyone you know aspiring to create a career in this industry. You Booked It is the #1 resource of expertise on how to actually create a successful entertainment career. It is integral to helping them succeed and helping you create a better, more fulfilling career in this wild and crazy industry. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. Jessica, it has been such a pleasure to have you on today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Don't miss an episode. Every guest drops more value and insight than any other resource out there, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love to hear from you. Leave us a rating and review. Also, be sure to head over to youbookeditpodcast.com and join our free email community where we dig deep into a continually growing resource of truly actionable things you can be doing right now to help you advance your entertainment career. All the best to you.